guidelines are scheduled to begin on Friday, August 18. It says stakeholders are informed that the selection of schools is scheduled from 23rd August to 4th September 2023. And in the Eastern region, about 100 head teachers and education officers from various institutions in the Brim North district of the Eastern region have received training on leadership skills. The program, organized by the US-Ghana Alumni Association of Teachers, was to keep participants abreast of current trends and best practices in the teaching profession.
Participants were taken through topics such as integrity and discipline-based leadership and transformational leadership. The group work session enabled the teachers to share ideas, problem identification and resolution, and challenges.
If possible, it should be organized at least every quarter of every year, and this will help teachers improve upon their teaching and leadership skills.
Day in and day out, there have been modern ways to interact with our personalities and then others that we come in contact with. And this, in one way, is going to help to maintain a serene environment the moment we get to our various institutions.
The Brim North District Director of Education, Mr. Charles Champon, mentioned the importance of leadership training for educators.
My advice to them is that anytime an invitation is extended to them, they should take it seriously and come. These days, the policy is that we need to develop ourselves, continuous professional development. So we expect them to be coming anytime.
The president of the US-Ghana Alumni Association of Teachers, Mr. Johannes Arthur, said the association is undertaking a series of programs to assist deprived communities across the country.
Let's go to the OT region now. Unfortunate news as a 74-year-old retired educationist who allegedly tied a 9-year-old boy to an orange tree at Accra in the OT region has surrendered himself to the Jasikan police. Mr. Timothy Jemfi Mentai, in a viral video on social media about a week ago, was said to have tied the victim with a nylon rope for stealing. Now, Mr. Timothy has been remanded by the police, and the police rescued the victim and mounted a search for the educationist to assist in investigations. Mr. Jemfi, who was accompanied to the police station by the chief of Accra, Nana Opong Chichiku, Nana Ejedu Esiedu, and chief of Atonko, Mr. Entry Baika, a native of Accra, among others, was granted bail after his statement was taken. Mr. Baika, a government appointee at the Jasikan Municipal Assembly, an acting assemblyman for the Accra electoral area, said 2 other children who were eyewitnesses to the incident were also interrogated. He said the accused person had been tasked to bring 3 other children from the town to the police station on Monday, August 14, for interrogation. Away from the OT region, a Muslim service has been held at the campus of Ghana's Premier University at Legon in Accra to commemorate its 75th anniversary.
Christian Thanksgiving service to mark the 75th anniversary of the University of Ghana. The university has also celebrated a milestone with Muslim students at the Legon Central Mosque. Over the years, the University of Ghana has built a reputation as an academically strong institution, making it one of the preferred choices for academics, researchers and students in Africa. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nana Abba-Apia Amfo, said a legacy project has been approved by the management of the university to serve, among other things, as an innovation and leadership center.
The proposed project is a multi-purpose avant-garde facility with state-of-the-art equipment which will serve as a one-stop center for a variety of students' needs. A leadership training center and incubation hub are included to provide a space where university faculty, leadership and students can nurture ideas and empower leadership skills. Additionally, the center will host satellite offices of units that provide student services and respond to student needs, such as the offices of the Dean of Student Affairs, Academic Affairs, Students with Special Needs or Disabilities, Student Financial Aid Office, and Careers and Counseling Center.
The spokesperson of the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Arimia Shaibu, in a sermon, thanked Allah for how far He has brought the University of Ghana.
Lebanon also started a small institution. It used to be called the University College of Gold Coast. University College of Gold Coast. So it didn't start as a full-fledged university. So it means that at the beginning, until later, through some legal instruments, it was now elevated to become a full-fledged university in 1961. So between 1961 and now, how many years, like I mentioned earlier on, we used to have only one campus. Now we have about 5 campuses or 2 campuses. And all those things that there has been some expansion. Even the 4,000 that we did are all so many. And so we are thankful to God for that.
The managing director of Japan Motors, Alhaj Salim Kalmuni, charged the students to take up startup challenges to enhance their entrepreneurial skills.
Your unwavering dedication and relentless pursuit of excellence have not only established University of Ghana as a household name in our nation, but also as a beacon of academic distinction across the African continent. May the blessings of Allah continue to shine upon this institution, elevating its recognition on the global stage.
The planning committee of the university says other activities are lined up to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the University of Ghana.
Let's do health now. Work has formally started on a community-based health planning and services as CHIPS compound at Tinabea, a farming community in the Techiman North District of Bono East. Techiman North MP Mrs. Elizabeth Ofusue-Jare says this will help make quality healthcare delivery readily accessible for the people in the area. Our Bono East regional correspondent Samuel Oyama has more.
The project consists of an outpatients department, consulting room, delivery room, storeroom, sanitation facilities, and a semi-detached residential facility, which is expected to be completed in 6 months and has funding from the MP's Common Fund. When completed, the health facility will serve residents of Tinabea, Krotia, Akonkonti, Mejemahome, Asempaneye, among others in the Akonkonti electoral area. The predominantly farming community has a population of over 1,000. The chief of Tinabea, Nana Pibusiakon, said accessing health care in the area was worrisome and virtually impossible, and so they had to travel far for medical attention. He was happy and grateful to the MP for coming to their aid and said they will do their part to ensure that the project was completed.
Because one go be I feel now the beko boy man asui and I teach mine. If I saw the baby benya for baby kwa no kwase say enye. So to say worker will be a friend, I would never full moto. No be our moto, no. So what it was. And I said, moto is out the Moko away in the day. If I saw the baby, then see baby now, The
Techiman North District Director of Health, Mr. Jacob Munukwa, said the CHIPS compound would ensure the people had first aid before being transferred to healthcare centers.
It's difficult to get to this place. So if I'm fall sick, it's a problem. Women in labor, they find it difficult. So they all tend to be TBA deliveries, home deliveries. Mother-in-laws deliver them. So we want them to get a survive delivery at the health facility. So if you build this place, we'll bring our staff.
The NDC MP for Techiman North constituency, Mrs. Elizabeth Ofusue-Jare, a lawyer, said the facility, which fulfills a campaign promise, will also help boost the economy of the Tinabea zone, since time spent visiting the Asui and Boyam health centers will not be used for their economic activities.
They've been delivering on their road to Sui, on their road to Techiman. It is not fair. We don't deliver babies in the middle of roads. They need a decent place to do that honor. And so I think that this CHIP compound will serve a beautiful purpose where our babies will be welcome, when you can also receive treatment when you are sick.
Residents were advised to collaborate with the workers for speedy completion of the project. Samuel Ayama, GBC News, Tinabea.
Away from Tinabea, this year's celebration of International Youth Day in the Northern region, the Catholic Relief Services urged the youth to harness their talents and interests in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM.
The 12th of August each year is set aside as International Youth Day to draw attention to issues affecting the youth. At an outreach program to mark the day, the Education to Employment Project Manager of the Catholic Relief Services, Madame Lily Oseida J, highlighted the importance of STEM education in driving socio-economic development in the 21st century. She said while traditional sectors remain important, focusing on STEM-based skills will provide Ghana's youth with a competitive edge in the constantly evolving job market.
So the advice for young people that we are engaging in is that go out there and get more involved in STEM-related courses. Read about more science and technology and mathematics areas so that you'd be able to fit into these green skills and green jobs that will be created in some years to come. These jobs are sustainable. They are not going to contribute to the depletion of currently what we are facing as far as climate change is concerned.
This year's celebration focuses on green skills for youth towards a sustainable world. The theme for the celebration seeks to highlight the opportunities available in the sector. Mutada Jemilatu and her colleague Mushara Prince are third-year students of the Northern School of Business.
I only thought the only place you could get work was nursing, teaching, but then today I've learned a lot. I've gotten to know that there are lots of job opportunities there which we are not going in for it. And so I'm praying and trying my possible best that after SHS, I'm also going to do those jobs that are available, but nobody is ready to apply for them.
I've learned that you can go and volunteer not because of money, but also have knowledge about that particular job.
Away from the north, let's do business and trade. The Council of the Ghana Stock Exchange has appointed Mr. Frank Yofi Mensah Belle as the Deputy Managing Director of the exchange with effect from July 11, 2023. He will be responsible for providing leadership and strategic direction to the various operational departments of the exchange. Prior to this appointment, Mr. Belle was the head of finance and administration. He's taking up this role at a time when the exchange is undergoing demutualization, a strategic direction that will result in the exchange becoming a limited liability company.
Joining the Ghana Stock Exchange in January 2004, Mr. Frank Mensah Belle has held diverse roles covering various areas including finance, operations, administration, recruitment and human capital management, surveillance and clearing and settlement. Chartered accountant by profession, Mr. Frank Mensah has additional chartered qualifications in taxation, financial economics and wealth management. He is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation Ghana, a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, Association of Certified Chartered Economics USA, Global Academy of Finance and Management USA, and the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants UK. Frank is also a Chartered Global Management Accountant with the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Mr. Frank Mensah Belle holds a Master of Philosophy degree in Economics and a Bachelor of Commerce degree done concurrently with Diploma in Education, all from the University of Cape Coast. Mr. Frank Mensah is taking up this role at a time when the exchange is undergoing demutualization, a strategic direction that will result in the exchange becoming a limited liability company.
Now, an appeal from the fiscally challenged persons is for government to fast-track processes to ratify the African Disability Protocol ADP to ensure that the rights of persons with disability PWDs are upheld. At a stakeholder engagement in Accra, the program's manager at the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations, Mr. Peter Nomakodie, said the ADP is currently at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and it was time stakeholders unite to push for its ratification.
Protocol, which is the legal framework on which member states of the AU are expected to formulate disability laws and policies, requires that 15 countries sign, ratify and domesticate the protocol to ensure its implementation across member countries, including Ghana. Since the protocol was adopted in 2018, only 8 countries, including Nigeria and Togo, have so far ratified or have begun some processes towards ratification. Stakeholders at a meeting on the ADP in Accra were unanimous that although the country had pledged its commitment at the Global Disability Summit in 2022, there was the need to ensure that momentum was not lost, especially as the nation prepared for the polls in 2024. The program's manager of the Ghana Federation of Disability Organization, Mr. Peter Anomakodia, said the document is unique to the continent and takes African practices and concerns into consideration so that the lives of people with disability are improved.
If Ghana wants persons with disabilities to be happy, then Ghana must ratify this protocol, because we are still not happy yet, because until we get the 15 ratifications. It's something that all of us need to make sure we work to ensure its ratification so that persons with disabilities will be very happy.
The president of the International Council for the Education of All Visually Impaired Persons, Dr. Peter Obina-Samoa, also said that ratifying the protocol would not only benefit people with disability, but also improve the social environment. Dr. Obina-Samoa called on all to join hands to ensure the protocol is ratified.
The Africa Disability Protocol has been around for some time. And we've started engagement, we've started some campaign, but it seems to be quite slow. It seems like things are not happening. So we want to speed up the pace and have this protocol ratified as soon as possible.
The Senior Global Advocacy Advisor of Sight Savers International, a charity organization, Madame Grace Enchiachu, said it was important for the country to ratify the protocol because it addressed issues of customs, traditional beliefs, harmful practices, and ritual killings, among others. According to her, the protocol also tackles the deep-rooted issues of disability discrimination so that everyone can access health, education, and employment without stigma.
Let's take you back to the north. Construction works have begun on temporary bridges and culverts to link communities and towns in the northeast region that were cut off following heavy rains last week, which lasted for about 4 hours. Wale Wale was completely cut off from Nalerugu, the regional capital, as a bridge at Gagbani and a dam at Tinguri were swept away by the floods, rendering roads linking the two towns inaccessible. The MP for Wale Wale, Hajia Larabazuwe Irabudu, Director General of NADMO, and staff of Ghana Highway Authority and the Northeast Regional Coordinating Council visited some of the affected areas.
The municipal capital has been cut off from Nalerugu, the regional capital, as a bridge at Gagbini and Tinguri have been swept away by the floods, making the main road linking the two towns inaccessible. Passengers traveling from Wale Wale to Nalerugu and adjoining towns have also been left stranded. Officials of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, were in the area to assess the situation and rescue the victims. MP for Wale Wale, Hajia Lariba Zuriira Abudu, who is also the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, was impressed with progress of work on the affected bridge and roads, as well as relief items for the victims.
Well, I'm very satisfied because just the day before yesterday, and you could see, you couldn't have crossed. What I was told, you couldn't have just even come. So it tells you that they are working day and night. It's a very big, and the people are happy. You could see them around. They are very happy. You see, and I know by tomorrow, as he's saying, the road can be used. You could see that a lot of women have lost their items. Some of them have lost their clothing, their mattresses. Some of their houses have submerged. They are down. Most farms, farms has been taken away by the water. So I'm pleading with all philanthropists, all NGOs, everybody, to have anything, whether you are in Accra, you are in Akosumbo, you are in Cape Coast, and you want to donate, send it to the Ministry of Gender.
The Northeast Regional Director of the Ghana Highway Authority, Mr. Andrew Kerry, said the havoc caused by the downpour needed swift intervention. Hence, the team will ensure the road is usable again.
The permanent solution will be that a bigger culvert will be constructed here. But before then, what we will do is to make launch a Bailey Bridge nearby here, so that while they are using the Bailey Bridge, we can come back. This is a temporary, as I said, and we can come back and establish a very permanent solution for this. So that is the solution we have for here now.
The Assemblyman for Tunguri electoral area, Mr. Yidani Drisu, thanked the MP, NADMO, and the government for coming to their aid.
Away from the Northeast region, a delegation from Namibia is in the country to understudy Ghana's implementation of the African Peer Review Mechanism and its civic education in order to replicate them in their country. The 8-member delegation called on the leadership of the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, as part of a 4-day working visit to Ghana. Discussions at the meeting focused on Ghana's implementation of the APRM program, benefits, challenges, civic education in Ghana, and how the Commission collaborated with other institutions, including civil society organizations, to achieve mandated goals. Apart from the NCCE, the delegation also had a number of engagements with other state institutions, including the National Governing Council of the APRM Ghana, the National Development Planning Commission, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, and the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. The NCCE described the visit as a unique one considering Ghana's close and long-standing relationship with Namibia. A deputy chairman in charge of operations at the NCCE, Mr. Samuel Asare-Kuamwa, said the NCCE has since its establishment been influential in sustaining the country's constitution for over 3 decades, emphasizing the importance of collaboration with key institutions. On regional security, Mr. Kuamwa, who is also a member of the governing board of the APRM, raised concern about the growing insecurity on the continent, particularly in the West African sub-region, and charged regional leaders to do more to address challenges of the people to minimize the occurrence of coup d'etats. The Commission is currently implementing programs including preventing electoral violence and providing security to the northern border regions of Ghana and preventing and containing violent extremism projects. These are to educate communities, particularly within the border areas, to create awareness of the presence of violent extremist groups to curtail any possible attack. On the foreign front, a delegation from Niger's junta was received in Conakry by Guinea military authorities. He asked for reinforced support to face the challenges ahead at a time when the military regime in Niamey is under the threat of the West African bloc intervention. Now, the Guinean head of state, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, whose regime also emerged from a coup d'etat in September 2021, held talks in Conakry on Saturday with a delegation led by General Musa Salao Barmou. General Barmou said he had come to thank the Guinean authorities for their support during the difficult times Niger is going through. Earlier, Conakry had expressed its disagreement with the sanctions recommended against Niamey by ECOWAS, including military intervention. Mali and Burkina Faso, also military-led, also expressed their solidarity with Niamey. Saturday's visit by the Niger delegation comes 2 days after an ECOWAS summit in Abuja, where leaders said they favored a diplomatic resolution to the crisis, while ordering the deployment of a standby force as a last resort to restore Mohamed Bazoum to office. Meanwhile, people in Niger are feeling the pinch from sanctions imposed by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, in response to a military coup in the country, which have resulted in longer power cuts. The sanctions have left the landlord country with minimal power supply, as Nigeria, whose supplies accounts for 70% of Niger's electricity, has cut off power supply to the country in line with the ECOWAS sanctions. In Niger's capital, Niamey, and many other cities, people are struggling to cope with the constant and long-term power outage, and streets and neighborhoods are getting used to being plunged into darkness for hours. In addition to the impacts to daily life, people are also worried about the impact of the power outages to the national economy. They are forced to buy flashlights and generators, among others. These unforeseen expenses are affecting the purchasing power of the population. There'll be more on the Niger coup on the breakfast show a bit later. About 93 people have been confirmed killed in the Maui fire that razed the historic town of Lahaina, marking the deadliest U.S. fire in a century. The number of victims could rise significantly. Hawaii Governor Josh Green warned on Saturday as forensic work continues to identify the victims. Hundreds remain unaccounted for, while hundreds of others fill shelters across Maui after fleeing the flames. While the wildfires are now largely under control, efforts to fully extinguish them are continuing in parts of the island, including around Lahaina, which has been devastated. Authorities have focused efforts on combing through what is left of the coastal area of the island using sniffer dogs trained to detect bodies to look for signs of corpses under the rubble. In an emergency shelter at Maui's War Memorial Complex on Saturday, hundreds of evacuees continue to gather, receiving food, toiletries and medical aid from a still growing number of volunteers. Frederick joins us on the phone lines now. Good morning, Frederick.
Good morning.
How about the capital?
Well, a very good morning to all viewers. So for the next 24 hours, we have picked up mostly cloudy weather. Will persist across the entire country. But then again, for the northern sector of the country, especially areas in upper east, upperwards through to the northeast, and then some areas in the northern and then southern regions are anticipated for some thunderstorms and then rainfall activities right from this morning through to the afternoon. So we advise that people over those areas will take some precautions this morning. Places over southern Ghana will be mostly cloudy with slightly not drizzle, so we don't have any serious rainfall to talk about, more of cloudiness. And then temperatures will generally range from 22 degrees Celsius to a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius across the entire country. Some and then fog patches have formed over the forest areas. We advise that motorists will be cautious this morning. Into tomorrow morning, cloudiness will still persist with some slight rain or drizzle for southern Ghana.
Right. Thank you so much, Frederick Kujo, for those updates. Thunderstorms in the north, upper east, upper west, northeast region. You would want to brace yourself and be cautious. That's it for GTV Breakfast News. There's more news when you log on to our website at gbcghanaonline.com. I am Malti Tisaida Sadiq. I'll be back at 7 with sports. Social media corner will come your way a bit later, but up next is Dementia. How